Namaste. We have a very special recipe for you today from your Swa kitchen, and it's a very easy recipe as always. It will be a fast recipe. It will probably not take you even as many as 20 minutes, and it's a healthy recipe as always, but most of all it's a recipe you can share with your loved one or loved ones. We have adjusted a modern ingredient, cocoa powder, to suit our Ayurvedic needs. As we know, we like to maintain a sattvic diet so that our heart lotuses are always open. We steer away from rajasic or tamasic food so that we maintain more happiness, bliss, and balance in our lives. And today we have taken a very ancient recipe called modak in the Ayurvedic texts, which literally means a ball of sweet. You can also identify the sweet nowadays under its modern name. It's called laddu. But don't read the description that's given on Wikipedia of what laddus are, because it's not 100% correct, but you'll get an idea. I have made already the recipe here for you, and I decorated it so you can see. And this is what it's going to look like, bite size. And like I said, it's going to contain cocoa powder. You're going to need besan flour, which is the flour made from small chickpeas, kala chana, not the large ones, which are contraindicated in the Swa tradition. We will also be using a new ingredient that's become very popular, but that's also very good for your health, quinoa flakes, very easy to digest and very high in minerals and all sorts of nutrients. We will be using some cane sugar that has not been bleached or treated or processed, rosebuds, cardamom seeds, and then almonds that have been sliced or slivered, and I toasted them a little bit, dry toasted them. And then for the Ayurvedic part, we'll be using mom's ghee. We will be using also madhu masala, which translates as sweet masala, which is not sweet in itself, but is a masala that we use with sweet dishes or sweet drinks, sweet lassi for example, or milk, muffins, and any baked goods. And in this case, we're going to use some with our laddus. And we also have, because it's Valentine's and we want to support our relationships, whether they're relationships between you and your partner or loved ones in the family or friends, so on and so forth. But more particularly for him and for her, for male and female, Vaidya has put together very special herbal formulas, Shakti for him and Shakti for her, that help support the hormonal balance in the women's physiology and in men, and for men as well, and that supports also the health of the organ area overall. So we will talk about that a little bit more. Let me tell you how to get started. It's very simple. One thing only you need to toast, which will be the mixture of the besan and the quinoa flakes. So let me show you. I have already put the proportions in the email, so I'm not going to follow the exact proportions, but I want to show you. This is how we will be dry toasting the besan powder with the quinoa flakes, and we're going to do equal parts of besan and quinoa flakes. You put it on medium heat. Don't go too high, because once besan is really hot, it can burn instantaneously and then you'll lose your batch. So you put it on medium, and then you have to keep mixing it like this, slowly. This is not a non-stick pan, by the way. It's a cast iron pan. Don't use a non-stick pan because we don't like the chemicals that it emits, but any stainless steel pan will do. So you just keep doing that. It'll take you a few minutes. This is probably the longest part of this recipe, getting to toast it properly. I'm going to discard this because I've already toasted it so that you can see what it's going to look like. We'll put this over here and keep our tawa warm. So I already toasted some besan along with quinoa flakes, and you can see it has a nice golden color, and it's all nice and evenly toasted. If you don't keep mixing it, then you'll burn parts of it. Be very careful. And always be ready. When it's ready, fully toasted, always be ready with your bowl right next to it to pour it immediately inside. And then, I'm not going to use all right now. I just want to show you how to make the recipe. Okay, so let's use this much. So this was the first step. Then, to the dry powder mixture, you're going to add your cocoa powder. Again, follow the recipe. Then you're going to add the madhur masala, sorry. Now at this point, you have to decide if you're making a batch for your girlfriends, for your wife, for your sister, or for your boyfriend, for your, partner, for the brother, for the man in your family. And according to that, you will add either Shakti for her or Shakti for him. So you might have to make 2 separate batches if you're making them for a separate group of people. That's only if you want to enhance your laddu with Ayurvedic herbs. See, laddus are sweet. They're a dessert, but they're also an Ayurvedic treat. And there are dozens of recipes in the Charak Samhita with different kinds of herbs, very specific herbs that are given in laddu form to patients to treat different imbalances. So this is a very nice way to get more balance out of Ayurveda and enjoy the laddus as well. So here we have the cocoa powder, the besan, the quinoa flakes. We will add either the Shakti for her or the Shakti for him. And then we're going to add the sugar. I'm going to put 2 sugar. Notice that I'm not adding the almonds now. We will do that later. Now we're going to do the next important step, which has to do, just clean this. We're going to add a little more flavor to our laddu by crushing a few cardamom pods and then adding a few rose buds, and then we're going to melt mom's ghee and add the crushed cardamoms and the rose buds in there. And melt the ghee. The ghee will be infused with the properties of the cardamom and the rose buds. It will give it a very nice aroma as well. Some people might not like, if you don't want to do this step, you have to melt the ghee anyways, but if you don't want to add the cardamom pods and the rose buds, you can skip them, of course. And you can instead add just cardamom powder in your dry mixture at this point. But this is a very nice way of getting the subtle flavor, but the properties. Rose, of course, is very good for the emotional heart, and cardamom is always nice addition to any sweet dish. So you can cook this for a minute. Just let the oil simmer on low so that the properties get nicely infused. You can crush them a little bit like this, and then we are going to filter the oil just so on top of our dry mixture. So now we are done here, and now we're going to mix our dry mixture. Infuse it with the ghee and make sure that everything is nicely coated with the ghee and is sticking together. At this point, you're going to add your dry almonds. Not too much, just follow the recipe that is in the email. and mix things together. So your mixture is ready. All we need now is the final step. Now we're going to make our laddus. Now the mixture is a little warm, but not too warm. If you're not confident about getting the right amount in your hands to make it into little balls, you can use an ice cream scooper. Like this. That way you are sure that you're getting the exact same amount every single time. You flatten it and then release it in the palm of your hand and then squeeze it, press it really tight, and then flatten it more with your thumb and then make it into a little ball, just like this. Here you go. And it's really nicely stuck together because the hot ghee also activated the sugar just enough to make the mixture a little more sticky. So this is our first laddu. I'll do another one. Just so. And then release it in your hand. Press it really hard so that everything binds together nicely. It's important to press really hard. And here's the other one. And then you just continue doing this, and you can decorate your dish. If you've made 2 batches, if you don't have rose petals, then you can put, maybe anything, a decoration like this, on the ones that have the Shakti for her and something else on the other one. And then one final thing, actually, I like to add pink peppercorn because the cocoa powder doesn't have a sutra in the Charak Samhita. It's not an ingredient that was used back then, but in the Sva lineage you are able to identify the properties of modern food items. It's a very special thing that we are able to do through Sva techniques. And Vaidya has determined that the cocoa bean is Bishtambi and is Guru, which means it's extremely clogging and very heavy. The heaviness part of it can be taken care of by adding herbs and spices that counteract that. For example, pink peppercorn, which belongs to the pepper family, will help balance the heavy properties by supplying enough Agni so that things are, moving around. The Bishtambi quality, however, is a little harder to deal with because it's a prabhava. It's a very subtle property that does not have any means or remedies of being counterbalanced. So that's why we like to eat less of chocolate, but when we do eat it, we eat it with more spices. And if you like the flavor of pink peppercorn, this is a very nice thing that you can add. You can just put it in these grinders and then grind it on top. It'll also give nice color, more festive color to your chocolate laddus, making it look like candy. But be careful. I tested this on one of my non-Indian friends who are not used to spices, and they did not like the taste of pink peppercorn at all. So be forewarned about it. So this completes our laddu recipe. I hope that everything was clear and that you enjoyed watching it. And I look forward to sharing many more recipes with you again. Namaste.